All right, we have a new Artisan knife here, and I have already opened it up. This thing's actually really cool. The Banjaara. Now, the Banjaara is a titanium frame lock model in S90V. We'll check that blade out here in 1 second, but DIRK Pinkerton design. DIRK Pinkerton, man, I've been checking out his designs for years now, and he's got some really cool designs that I absolutely love. Some, maybe not so much, but the majority of his knives I've absolutely adored, and this one is one of them. Now, here's the thing. I'm typically not a fan of Persians unless if they're done well, and DIRK Pinkerton knows how to do a Persian. He knows how to shape the handle so that it complements the blade, which is absolutely knocked out of the park here. Because if you look how the handle kind of arcs up, well, then the blade cants down. So this tip, while yes, it is much higher than the center of the pivot, it's still much easier to get to than some Persians, while also giving good access to the belly. Now, this style Persian is going to be really good for self-defense purposes, which DIRK Pinkerton does very well. He has a ton of self-defense style knives. We're gonna go through that action here in a second. But if you look, the way this handle is shaped, if you look at this part right here, presses into the palm, right? So for plunging, the pressure goes directly into your palm, and you have this spot right here kind of stopping you from slipping up the blade, but it makes it to where the tip is basically plunging at whatever you're pushing towards. You have this shape that's basically just like doing the most devastating thrust pass you could do while being very ergonomic for that. So it feels like the handle and the blade just complement each other wonderfully. And then if you're going to use it for breaking down boxes or anything, the same logic goes. The way you're holding it, it's kind of, if you look, the belly kind of leans forward. So unlike, say, some bellies, just for an example, when you're slicing, they might slip out of the cut. With this one, since it kind of arcs forward, you're going to be able to stay into that cut a lot easier. So very awesome the way this design flow goes, and man, it looks good. To me, this is a good looking knife, especially for a Persian, man. Like I said, I'm not a Persian fan, so this is a great example of one done well. And I always say that, I'm not a Persian fan, but if it's done right, I love them. Same thing like, with, clip points that have that arch to them. Now, the handle is a titanium frame lock with a titanium mill pocket clip and two standoffs with this micro milling. And if you look, you have this micro milling texture here, and then you have these little spots that offer traction in ways that, like, it's not overly done, but it feels like it's just right. Where right here you have good traction, right here your palm kind of sinks in there just a little bit. You got a little bit right there with your pinky. So you feel very much locked in. The jimping right here, yeah, it's pretty functional. It lands a little bit, it works. It does work for sure. Access to lock bar. Really good access to the lock bar. Love that access. And man, this reverse flick is money. The thumb and reverse flick, both of them, absolute money. If you look, the hole lands right where your finger is going to land every single time, not even thinking about it. Like, you don't even have to think where to place your finger. It's there. It literally lands. I don't care what size hand you have, because if you're a big hand, it might land a little lower. If you have a smaller hand, it might land a little higher, but it just doesn't matter. It just works. I bet even left-handed, it would work great. Yeah, even left-handed. Like, I don't even have to think about it. It just lands perfectly. And then thumb flick is kind of equally as good. Typically, you would think you're going to hit this spot right there, but you go right past it. Like, it might look like I'm touching this, but I'm not. I'm literally kicking right past. Like, it's just going right past, and I'm not even touching this. Especially when it's done fast. So it feels like it feels like how you would think a thumb stud would feel, as far as, the placement, where you're not touching that at all, which works really well for the thumb hole deployment. I love the access to that lock bar. It allows you to very comfortably disengage the knife. Now the detent is a little late. It could be a little earlier, like right there, but it's still easy to get past. And as you can see, it is basically a drop shut action. Then the flipper tab, relatively comfortable flipper tab, a little bit low, but it works out because of where it lands in the open position. And the detent is not a strong detent, like I can easily fail this, but if I put any effort towards it at all, it flies open. Like you can do the push button and build up pressure, or the light switch, or just a regular flip, like if I was just gonna pick it up and flip it. Like it flips very reliably, but I would say for the flipper tab, it's a little bit on the lighter side, just a little bit. But I think that that's kind of benefits you on this knife, because the reverse flick, you wouldn't want to change it. Like that is the money shot. That's where, that's the opening, that's the deployment of choice, I would say, and the deployment that works the best on this one. However, like I said, the flipper tab, it's not like it's underwhelming or anything. It's just, you know, a little bit on the lighter side, which does benefit you if you're going to try to open it left-handed. And like I said, it makes for the detent to be perfect on the reverse flick and thumb flick. Blade, like I said, S90V, somewhat of a finer satin, you could say. Almost reflective. And it has a nice swedge on the top. This is going to, you can see the tip is going to be plenty durable, but yet it you know, it arcs up enough to where it is very pokey as well. Now, as far as some negatives go, one thing I do want to give them credit for, well, I guess I can't actually, never mind. I was going to give them credit for T8s all the way around, but they put two T6s and a T6 here. I'd rather see T8s all the way around. Just do T8s literally all the way around. T8s just work much better. I know the body screws are T8s, but I'd rather see T8s on everything. Now, my negatives, you know, aside from the T8s, one, you guys already know it's coming. You guys already feel it. You guys know what's about to happen. Yes, the plunge grind is not good here. If you look, the end of the plunge grind actually lands like right here. It's like well past the edge. Now, you can see it starting to get larger, and I actually can feel it poking down just a little bit. So when I sharpen this, it will absolutely have no choice but to create a smile. It just is what it is. Is it a deal breaker? No, but it is something that I do complain about because I'm a knife sharpener. I want a lot of life in my knife with sharpening. I want to be able to easily sharpen it. I want easy access to sharpening. I also want it to look good after I'm done sharpening, and I want it to look good in the future. I don't want my knife after 5 sharpenings to look like it's, you know, 30 years old. But, you know, you can, in this case, always cut your own in if you really want to. You can even cut a finger choil in on this one because the stop pin does not get in the way. So good job on that. It is an internal stop pin, which is my favorite way to do a stop pin because in that case, you can do what you want as far as cutting choils in or doing anything because you don't have to worry about the stop pin hitting back here. That's why I always try to warn against people putting stop pins back there if you can. Like, I know there's going to be some instances where it's difficult. Now, the next negative is the edge. The edge did not come very sharp, which is surprising because Artisan typically does a pretty good job with their edges. And I know I'm a bit of a stickler with edges, but I don't try to hold production companies to the standard that I, you know, would want on my own knives. I don't do that. I try to hold them to the standard of what a sharp factory edge is. And in this case, they did kind of miss the mark here. I think 2 reasons why. I think 1, they did too high of an angle for this geometry. And it's not like stupid thick or anything. I don't want to make it seem like that, but 20 thousandths behind their angle. I would just drop a lower angle on there and have it thicker behind the edge. So I'd probably drop a 17 to 15 degree edge bevel on here. You know, if you want to keep it tough, you know, 17, 18 degrees, but I'd lower back the edge angle. On this one, it's probably a 25 degree edge bevel at this thickness. Maybe like 22, 25, but That's one thing. And then I think maybe when in the deburring process, or when they were, you know, buffing it or stropping it, whatever you want to call it, because I'm sure they're using a buffing wheel, they just over buffed it a little bit, and it makes it to where it's slick. Okay, I do got an issue with the clip. Now this is not, let me check my other pocket really quick. What am I doing? Okay, I got one issue with the clip, but this is only going to count for if you have thick pockets. So some of us wear jeans that have double thick pocket seams. So like the seams of your pocket is much thicker than like regular Levi's or anything like that. If you're just wearing regular Levi's, this will not apply to you. You will not care about this. But if you wear really thick, like sometimes Carhartt pants have that. Anyways, it gets tight when you get up to here. This gets tight and you almost can't put it all the way in. Plus, you know, with the grip, the grip doesn't bother you as long as you're just wearing regular jeans that don't have double thick pockets. It slides right in just fine, no problem at all, and it's nice and smooth. The texturing doesn't bother you at all. But you know, typically, because it's not a reversible clip, why not just put a smooth pad underneath the clip? You can't see it, and it would make it to where it would be a bit smoother. However, that's really not an issue here. I'm not trying to say that's a nitpick or a negative, but the part that is that I can't get it all the way in my pocket for the jeans I'm wearing right now. But that's 90% of people are not going to be wearing these jeans. If you're wondering what jeans they are called the perfect jeans. And yes, they are the perfect jeans. The only thing is they do have thick pockets. They're really nice pants. Anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.